should Kuminga stay on Golden State, or should he go get a bag because Kuminga's been hooping? Should he go get a bag somewhere else?
He out of there. Okay. He's out of there. 100%. He out of there.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Kuminga is out of there. I don't think he's staying in Golden State. No, as long as they just signed Steve Kerr to an extension. So he ain't.
They did. And what does his contract look like? This is his.
This is rookie. I think if it's not this year, then it's next year because he was a lottery pick, and they just signed Steve Kerr to an extension this season. I think it's like a 3-year extension, something like that. And they got Kuminga the year that they won the championship in 22. So we're in year 3, right? We're in year 3.
He has so it's a team option this year.
I think he's still on his. I know he's still on his Rook deal, but I can tell you right now, Big Ox, I'm pretty confident that it's a team. It's not. It's on your Rook deal. It's definitely not. It's definitely not your option on your Rook on your Rook deal. More times than not, unless you are. Let's see. Yes, it's this year. It's the team option, and then next year is also the next 2 years is a team option, and. I think it's up to them to decide whether or not they're going to extend him. He might ask out. He might ask out. Yeah, he might ask out. Like, yo, I want to go play somewhere else. He might ask out.
Yeah. He can do a lot for the right team.
Mm-hmm.
For the right team, he can do a lot.
Yes, he can.
Where would you like to see him, Chilltown?
I'd like to see him somewhere where it's a bunch of other young guys. If Toronto didn't have Scotty Barnes, I would love him up in Toronto. I think he'd be really good up there. A team, I do not want him in Washington because I think they'd ruin him. I don't want him in Washington. I don't want him in Charlotte because they already have they already have Brandon Miller.
The Spurs.
I would like him with the Spurs. I was going to say that the Spurs in Utah too. I think that he'd be really good in Utah, and another place that he would be good too is in Dallas, running with Luka.
Right.
Yeah, I think he'd be well. They still have to change that offense because I just don't. I don't love how Luka is on the ball, man. I mean, Luka passes the ball. I'm not going to argue that, Big Ox, but I think a young guy like Kuminga, you'd have to turn him loose. And one of the other places that I would love him, and I know that they already have Jaime Jaquez. Without Jaime Jaquez, I think he'd be great in Miami, but they already got Jaime Jaquez.
Yeah, he would be a great fit in Miami. I'm actually okay with him playing with Luka in Dallas, just the way he plays. I don't think he has to be fed the ball. He's more the type I want to see him speed the game up in transition. I think JK can help them with that in transition. Defense, obviously, attacking offensive glass, like having him and the two big fellas they got, as well as PJ. JK might be the piece Dallas is missing.
He might be. He might be the transition player that he is.
Yeah.
Luka does get off the ball. I'd like to see Luka get off the ball a little bit more and a little quicker to keep the offense more fluid. But the transition player he is, and I think that you could dumb it down for him. And that's not to say that he's dumb. It's just that I feel like he's in that same place. I feel like he's in the same neighborhood with guys like Obi Toppin, where there's not a lot of responsibility on him. Like, just turn him loose. Turn him loose. Let him get out on the wing. Let him run. If he's open, crack the long ball. Like, we don't run a lot of sets for him. Defensively, we can keep him in action where we know he's not going to fail, right? We'll help him fight over screens. Not only will we help him fight over screens, we won't have him switching onto small. We won't have him switching on the bigs. We'll have him switching 1, 2, and 3. That's it. And we'll keep him in situations. We'll keep him in situations where he can thrive. Kind of like what they're doing in Indiana with Obi Toppin. Because Obi Toppin was the guy who was on his way out. We weren't sure whether or not he was going to be able to stick around. And I feel like with Indiana turning him loose, I think that that could be an advanced version. He can be an advanced version of that.
Yeah. Could you start? Like, could you have a lineup in Dallas like Luka, Kyrie, JK, PJ, and one of the big fellas, either Gafford or Lively? Could you start that lineup?
You just said it. One more time. Luka at the
KP,
1. Irv at the 2.
Not KP. I'm sorry. Yeah, Luka, Irv, PJ, JK.
JK at the 3, PJ at the 4, Gafford at the 5.
Yeah, so that's a decent. You like that lineup?
I do like that lineup. I don't hate that lineup. I don't hate that lineup at all. I like that lineup a lot.
I'm really feeling that. I don't want to play them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like that lineup.
Keep them dudes over there. Nah, we don't want nothing to do with them.
Yeah.
Nah,
no, I don't want to see them. That's a nice squad for real.
Somebody else bounce them.
I hope they figure a way out because I want to see JK do good. But I also don't feel I didn't think it was fair in the season at the time when it was going on when Steve Kerr was getting a lot of pressure for taking them out in close games that they ended up losing. Mm-hmm. Took them out some close games where I felt like that was the right move for Steve Kerr. JK was still showing signs of mental breakdowns. And so I wasn't mad at Steve Kerr for doing that, although I want to see JK get an opportunity. You know what I mean? So I would like
remember,
to see him
remember, Big Ox, when you are a young guy and you get on a championship caliber team, you know, the margin of error is like this. We don't have, it's not like getting on Atlanta, right? It's not like getting on Toronto where you got time to figure it out. No, Steph Curry at that point was in year 13. Klay Thompson, he was in year 11. Draymond, he was in year 12. He was in year 10. So we don't have time to waste years with these guys, with Draymond Green. We don't have time to wait. We don't have time to waste with these guys. So you being a young player, and again, we ain't talking about a guy, Big Ox, who showed up 2 years out of college, 3 years out of college. This is a 19-year-old who played 1 year in the G League. And in the process of him doing that, he's got to get on this championship caliber unit with a guy who just led the league in scoring the year before. They were just in the NBA Finals 3 years ago, and now they're healthy again. Now he's got to pick it up like this. Now, don't get me wrong. I feel like after 2-3 years, you should be able to pick it up. The terminologies, right? The rotations, the nuances. You should. I've been playing with these guys long enough that I should pick this stuff up. However, I don't have a lot of margin for error when I'm doing that neither. So we kind of wanted to see him move along faster than what he was doing off the strength that the athleticism that we saw and the potential that we saw and the fact that the Golden State Warriors was rolling. Okay, this guy's the next generation after Curry, after Klay, after Dre, after those dudes are gone. But he just wasn't picking it up fast enough. Mm-hmm. And I don't think that it was because he's just not that smart. I just think that he didn't really have enough time.
Right. Well, the Warriors can't just let him go, right? They got to sign and trade or something, right?
Well, they got the option. They still own his rights, and it's not like he's a free agent. He's still under contract. It's a team option after this year, and it's up to them to decide whether or not they want to extend him, whether or not they want to exercise that option just for next season, or that they want to move off of him. Because again, he could very well ask out because he's still on his rook deal, and they could get something.
I'm looking. If I'm the Warriors, now tell me if this makes sense to you. I'm looking at re-signing him. I'm looking at extending him to a decent sum of money, and getting ready to trade him. I'm looking to extend him and trade him, and
sign and trade.
Sign and trade. You can't let him go just like that. You can't. That's some of the best value they have is JK. Yeah, especially if they're not going to do what I've been trying to tell them to do since all season and trade Steph Curry. Y'all don't want to trade Steph Curry. You don't want to listen to me. So, I mean, they're just wasting their time, wasting Steph Curry's career. Like, he deserves better than this. It's the player choice way. Yeah, them boys don't get it started. The player choice way. You're the player choice way. Come and switch lanes into the player choice way.